Hello everybody, how's it going? It's your boy Editor Snake O'Martin and I'm back with another video for you. Now, I'm finally back on the sofa after a busy couple of weeks where I was on stage and things. Please check out the video if you can. And yeah, I have finally been able to sink my teeth into a game, which I haven't been able to do for quite a long time. Now that game, which is a very social game, I think, is Marathon. Now, I know people might be fed up of extraction shooters, but also they are kind of the flavour of the month at the minute, in the same way that when Fortnite came out, all battle royales were like the big in thing, and this is the new version. But Tarkov, Escape from Tarkov started it off. Then we had little forays into it, like COD tried it with DMZ. Now, I've only ever played one type of extraction shooter before this, and that was Call of Duty's DMZ, which was a tacked on thing. It wasn't amazing, but I did really enjoy the gameplay loop. It was really fun going into a level, a big map rather, where you're with a couple of friends. You could end up fighting PvE, it could be PvP, but I really got into it. I loved the vibe, and I really liked that kind of loop of looting things. But in COD, it didn't really go very far. I didn't think it kind of had a very good upgrade system. Now, I know people have probably played many of these, but for me, Marathon is my first proper one, and I am loving it, truth be told. I didn't think I'd like it, but I've really gotten into it. Now, when I first played it, the reason why I got this as well is because my friend Sutton, who's been on the channel quite a lot, he asked about it, and he was like, oh, I've got it, and then he kind of guilted me into it. And I obviously felt like obliged to get it. So I chucked down 35 quid and I bought the bloody game. Now, when I first played it, I didn't like it. I was a bit like, it's weird. I kind of thought it was very foggy, very colourful, weirdly colourful, but in weird ways. But it had a very interesting vibe. And when you play it with headphones, the sound design is incredible in the game. Although it does have a little bit of work to do when it comes to people being far away and close. I think sometimes it's a bit off, but the general sound design is fantastic. The rain sounds, the wind, the lightning, the footsteps, everything's very good. The guns sound great. And I really loved the atmosphere. It was kind of intense. It was scary. I knew there were people out there who wanted me dead, and I needed to pick up and loot every little thing. Now, Marathon, I think, I'm not sure if this does it differently or what, but Marathon does it where you go into the level, you have to loot certain items, and once you level up with a faction, so there's 6 factions, you do missions for them. Once you level up with them, you unlock new upgrades that you need to loot things, and you get credits to then pay for the upgrades that give you upgrades that last throughout the rest of the season. Now, I think it's a good system. I'm not a big fan of the fact that it's seasonal, because that means that once the season's over, I have to do this all over again. Although the story is told in a weird way. I don't really care about the story, if I'm honest. I don't really think there's much of a story. Essentially, you're a robot bloke thing, I don't know, and you've got to go onto planets to loot stuff to help your factions get stuff from the baddies, which are the UESC, which are a bunch of robots. And it works. The cutscenes are kind of cool when they happen. They're not very mad, like they're not like fully rendered kind of plot as you would know. But there's these kind of almost like mobile game cutscenes, and it's a bit meh, but it's very well done. But I don't really care about the story, so that's good. First thing out of the way. And the gameplay loop of going into each time. So each time you go on a run, which is what the dropping into the levels are called, you take a contract with you. You play as one of 6 characters, but I'll talk about the 7th character in a minute. You play as one of 6 characters. One's pretty fast, one's invisible, like they have special powers. It's pretty cool. Some are better than others, like the assassin class is my favorite. You can go invisible. Anytime you're in smoke, you go invisible from it. So you can kind of really like ham up the invisibility. And I usually play with me and my friend Joey or Sutton. It's very rare that the 3 of us get on. So when we go into a world where we're potentially fighting teams of 3, it helps us massively to have that camouflage in with the world. So I find it very, very good. There are other classes, like I do like the Vandal, which is really fast. They literally have running shoes on. I love them. I wish they were a real running shoe that I could wear. They're pretty cool. There's the Destroyer class, which is your typical shooty bad guy. But to be honest with you, they're not like all that different. It's just their abilities. I don't think they have much difference when it comes to how much damage they take. Like you'd think the Destroyer would take extra bullets, but realistically, he takes the same as the Thief, which is the kind of sneaky character, steals things. You'd expect them to have less health, but it's fine. It works. You know, it just works. It just works. The gunplay, fantastic. It's what you'd expect from a Bungie game. Not a big fan of Bungie, to be honest. I haven't enjoyed them since early doors of like Destiny 2, but they make great shooting and very satisfying shooting gameplay. Really, really, really big fan of the guns in the game. I always compare them to Halo guns. So there's a pistol in it that's basically a plasma pistol. There's also the Volt Thrower, which is your Needler in Halo. There's multiple machine guns, there's DMRs, there's battle rifles, and they play exactly like you'd expect from even Halo, but obviously they have these marathon skins. Now, it is very satisfying to play. And you can play it solo, so you can either go in on your own, and then it puts you in a game with only solo players, or you can go in a team game where, unless it specifies duos, which it doesn't usually, it's just very rare when that happens, you usually could be in a game with up to 3 people in a team. So you can go in on your own for those, but it's probably not as recommended, to be honest. Actually, you can't. You can't go into them on your own. You can go into them as a 2, but I don't think you're allowed to go in as a 1 because it forces you to fill your squad, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. I don't really care. The fact is it's really fun to play. And yeah, playing with friends, it's really fun. I love going in and being a horrible, horrible human and going to ruin people's days, killing them and then stealing all their stuff, which is very, very satisfying. And it's a quick way to get all the good stuff, to be honest. So you don't know where anyone is. You can use like radars and stuff like that to help ping them down. But ultimately, you're just trying to find people and you'll come across them, as the maps aren't massive, but they're big enough. The actual gameplay then, when you're sneaking around, me and my friends like to be assassins, we could go gun-ho, you can kind of sneak around, just looting, trying to get in and out. But the missions, those contracts that each faction can give you are really fun. You can only take one in at a time, and you have to do certain objectives to complete the contract. Some have to be done in one go, so maybe you've got to go and hack something, kill a commander, and then extract with his files. You have to do it in one run. You can't do it bit by bit over multiple runs. So things like that are quite challenging, but sometimes it's fun to do it on your own. It's almost easier in a way to do it on your own when you're sneaking around. Some of them, it's way better to do it with the team because you can just crack on with it. Like, for example, killing human players. Some of them for this company called Arachne, or the faction called Arachne. It's all about fighting other human players and yeah, getting kills on the runners, things like that. And those are really fun to do with multiple people because their kills count as your kills, so it works very well. And yeah, I really like it. I've not played an extraction shooter before, but this one's really fun. It does kind of tickle my interest with Arc Raiders, but equally it feels like that game's kind of gone a bit quiet. Well, I am really quite enjoying that Marathon doesn't feel like it's got a massive fan base. Like, it's probably lost a lot of trust from people that really invested in Destiny 2 and Destiny before. And then obviously Halo back then. And like I said, I'm not a big fan. And thankfully as well with the game, you only can buy skins, but they're not really necessary. They give you quite a few cool skins anyway, just from just playing the game. And it literally doesn't feel like a big deal. There's a battle pass thing in it called the Reward Pass, and you get free rewards all the time through it, and they're just a gun skin here or whatever. But honestly, you don't need the skins at all. Like, I've not felt like I want to spend any money on the game apart from buying it. There is literally no need. It doesn't feel pay to win or anything like that, which is really good. It's very much based on how much you play it, which is kind of annoying. Like, I feel like it doesn't really matter about skill a lot of the time, as long as you're sneaky and stuff. The only one that I think you have to have a bit more skill with are stuff like the Arachne, where you've got to go after human players. I did mention that there's one character that isn't in the 6, and he's called a Rook. He's really fun. So each game is 25 minutes long. With the Rook, you go in about 10 minutes into someone else's game. You can only do it when you're solo, and you can only go in with whatever you've unlocked for your Rook. You can't take your stuff in, like your special good guns. He's just a little scavenger. And essentially, you run around the battlefield scavenging, and hopefully you don't get into trouble. Although some people, when they play as Rook, actively look for trouble. But you go into games filled with teams of 3. So you are actively looking for the dead bodies, so you can have a little nibble on their carcasses. It's pretty cool. And those games are incredibly tense because Rooks are pretty weak. They're not very good. They're kind of like, imagine you're going in as a literal skeleton and you're trying to get your stuff from everybody else to get stronger. So really, really interesting game when you play as that. It's almost like a horror game at times, because you know for a fact that you aren't going to be able to handle yourself unless you're mad, good at the game. You're not going to be able to handle a team of 3. So it's a very scary game, and with the sound design, it's exceptionally cool. But yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. It's more than I thought it was going to be, and it's definitely a grower and not a shower, which is interesting because yeah, it's massively grown on me, and I find myself wanting to play it solo. And when I first got the game, I was like, I don't see myself ever playing this solo. But now I'm like into it. I'm into the factions. I like them. I like what they stand for. There's one company called New Caloric, I think. New Caloric? I think it's New Caloric. And they're pretty cool because they're all about foods and creating like substance and things like that. So you get extra stuff if you loot things like food, or if you go and scavenge in the grass and take your spark leaves, things like that. It's just really nice. I think it's like well done. It's a well-rounded little gameplay universe, but ultimately it's not amazing. And it's not for everybody, but if you are into it, it's really blooming good. I think that's fair. I think that's like most games, isn't it? If you're into a game, it's really good. If you're not, it's not as good. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a bit of a grower, I think, with the extraction game community, I don't know. But ultimately, I'm a big fan of it. It's not something I thought I would ever really enjoy that much. But at the minute, I'm really busy. All I'm able to do is run. I haven't got the mental capacity for a big story game right now, apart from on stream where I'm playing Final Fantasy VIII. So it's hitting that itch perfectly well. And it's also quite nice to play with my friend Sutton, who's obviously away, and my friend Joey, who lives further away as well. So it's nice to catch up with them, shoot some runners, and call it a day at the end of it. If you like this video, please think about hitting the subscribe so you can find your way back again. Hit us up with a comment if you're playing Marathon. I don't know if anyone else is playing Marathon. I don't expect this video to get many views at all, but maybe it'll go spread out to the universe. But I'd love to hear what you think if you are playing Marathon, or just your views on extraction shooters. So let me know in the comments. Maybe you're done with them, maybe you're bored of them. I don't know. But it feels like a genre that's only going to get bigger and bigger. And I think, hopefully, I kind of want them to start doing licensed extraction shooters. So like maybe a Star Wars one or something like that. But not at the expense of these cool story games that we do get. But I think there's a lot that this game can grow with. It's got raids and stuff like that as well. But I think it's definitely one to have a think about if you are maybe fancying a shooter that's a little bit different. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care, everybody. Have a lovely rest of your day. And toodaloo.